They began as the November 9, each on the precipice of greatness. Two have already fallen by the wayside. And the too many expected to thrive are just lucky to be alive. 7 now remain. Will the one-time chip leader make use of his new lease on life?
Yes! Don't do it. You're gonna love this game.
Will the consummate pro keep the dreams of his peers alive?
Right, baby.
Will a new force emerge? Or will the current chip leader, the hottest player on the planet, continue to roll? The moment is near. Soon, only one will be left standing. One will take the $9 million. One will be world champion. Welcome back to the World Series of Poker presented by Milwaukee's Best Light. The Penn and Teller Theater still filled to capacity. Each remaining player with his own unique cheering section. It looks like everyone joining in the action. Well, everyone except Daniel Negreanu.
Maybe it's a Canadian thing.
I expect somebody to sing the anthem after the Canadian wins here.
I imagine that would happen. Scott Montgomery from Perth, Daru Suharto from Toronto are the two Canadians who remain at this international final table, which also includes 3 Americans, a Dane, and the Russian Ivan Demidov, our current chip leader. And on the E-Trade financial chip count, you see Ivan with 40 million chips, almost 30% of the chips in play. Eastgate in second, Schwartz and Phillips fighting it out for third place.
The day after making the final table, Daru Suharto went back to work at his accounting firm. How could he do that? $1 million in his pocket, maybe $9 million on the way. You don't keep working for the man. You walk away from the man.
You saw Suharto fold over to Chino Ream with ace-king.
With ace-king and less than 10 big blinds left, I think it's time for Chino Ream to hidey-ho.
All in.
Indeed, a move all in for the pro Chino Ream. Demidov folds to Peter Eastgate now. Ace-queen.
A call.
And a call to put Chino Ream at risk.
Show me ace-queen one time.
I have ace-queen.
Chino happy to see that he has Eastgate dominated.
And Chino's professional colleagues are also happy to see that. Chino trying for a small double up here to almost 8 million chips.
Peter Eastgate, the second biggest stack, with support from his cheering section, trying to knock off Chino Ream.
Eastgate looks matter-of-fact about the proceedings.
That's why they call him Icegate. The flop is queen 5-7. Eastgate pairs his queen. Chino in trouble.
Chino Ream still standing, but he looks like a fallen man at the moment.
Indeed, Ream looking for help on the turn or the river. Turn card 9 of diamonds, that is no help.
Peter Eastgate poised to knock out the only established pro at the final table. Chino has squiggled off the hook time and again at this main event. He has to have a king and a king only, or his championship dream is over.
River card is a 4 of hearts, and that's going to do it. Peter Eastgate wins the pot and knocks off Chino Ream in 7th place. And the Danes are thrilled.
The last established pro at the main event has been extinguished. Chino Ream never had many chips tonight, but he's got to be devastated.
With that win, Peter Eastgate over 28 million. Chino Ream saw this as the biggest moment of his poker career, but his tumultuous run in the 2008 main event comes to an end.
The 2008 World Series of Poker, presented by Milwaukee's Best Light. Main event. Final table.
Welcome back to the Rio and the Penn and Teller Theater, where Peter Eastgate's entourage still celebrating his knockout of Chino Ream.
This very song led to the end of my first marriage, yet oddly enough, the beginning of my second.
Norman, a lot of people considered Peter Eastgate the X factor at this final table, and so far his play has spoken almost as loudly as his fans.
His nickname is Icegate because when he plays poker, he is calm and icy.
You're thinking about the final table like almost every day. The dreams and the nightmares.
Eastgate gets frisky.
$9 million is like an absurd amount of money. It's a once-in-a-lifetime chance you got.
Helmuth wins the championship.
To beat Phil Himmel's record, that would be quite amazing.
Idiot from Northern Europe.
It's very cool to become like the youngest winner ever. The main thing is to make history in the way of becoming the world champion. The age factor is just like the icing on the cake.
Eastgate looking to wipe Phil Hellmuth out of the record book. And you know, outside of the Hellmuth family, that would make a lot of people very happy.
Blinds are up to 250,000, 500,000. Eastgate folds his 7-4. Over to Dennis Phillips now. Dennis looks down at King Queen.
Phillips once was a travel agent. He was a salesman for a book publisher. He owned his own dairy farm. Here he says, I'm playing a game that I love.
Phillips started this table as the chip leader. Lost a lot of chips early on. He's been fighting back. He raises to 1.3 million. That lucky coin has come into play and worked well for Dennis Phillips so far. Action on Daru Suharto. He folds. Next in line, Ivan Demidov with pocket jacks.
Pocket jacks, the Lon McCarron memorial hand.
In the big blind.
Almost 17 left, not quite. 16 and a half.
He's got plenty, Ivan.
Ivan just with the call.
You gotta like Ivan's game. Demidov is selectively aggressive. He varies his play. He disguises his hands well.
Flop is king, Trey. Phillips flops kings up to grab the lead. Demidov with jacks up, checks. Dennis Phillips is going to bet at it. And Dennis puts out over 2.5 million chips.
And you see the problem with pocket jacks. If an ace, king, or queen hits the flop, you're frozen in your tracks.
Demidov, though, will make the call.
Well, that tells us that Demidov does not believe that Dennis Phillips has a king.
Turn card is a 7, no help to Demidov. Ivan checks. And Dennis checks behind.
With Phillips checking there, I really don't believe he has a king if I'm Demidov.
All right, now the river card is another king. And king's full for Phillips gives him the check mark.
If I'm Demidov, now I really don't believe Phillips has a king.
Demidov checks a third time. Phillips is going to bet at 5 million.
Well, if I'm Demidov and I didn't believe he had a king on the flop and didn't believe he had a king on the turn, there's no reason I would believe Dennis Phillips has a king now. Of course, I'm not Ivan. We know that Dennis Phillips does have the king.
He does not believe and calls. King's full for Dennis Phillips will win the hand. It's been a lot of work since he was hammered down to only 8 million, but Dennis Phillips is just 5 million behind the chip leader Ivan Demidov.
You know, I look out over that sea of Dennis Phillips faithful, and it's hard not to become a believer.
Phillips perhaps once again on track for a $9 million payday. The time has come. From the depths of the Rio, the money has emerged and is moments away from entering the Penn and Teller Theater. The arrival next. Welcome back to the Rio and the championship table. Anticipation is high in the Penn and Teller Theater. We know this will happen each and every year, yet it never gets old. The money is entering the room. This is the first time the players are seeing what they've been competing for so long.
Are they really piling that money all up there?
$9 million.
This